Right, so hello and welcome back to Books and Things and welcome to another video. And today I'm going to do something slightly different. It's going to be a slightly different video. I'm going to be doing a behind the scenes on Books and Things video and explaining to you how I make a video. So the first thing I always do when I make a video is plan it. So I have a big planning document on my computer which is called 2020 Video Ideas. I start a new one every year so it doesn't get overwhelming. And at the top of this document, as you can see, I have a big video schedule. So this in purple is all the videos that are up so far, and when we get into black, it's the videos that I have planned for the future. Which won't always happen, sometimes my plans change, but you can see what I have planned. And then further down the document I have all of my ideas. This is also the place where I write out all of my video descriptions with all the links before I put it up on BookTube. So as you can see, this is the first video I filmed in 2020 was my December wrap up, and you can see the description there. So the video that I am about to film today is the video which you will have seen earlier in the week, which is my 5 Victorian novels about growing up video. So you can see here, this is my video plan. It is very short. All I have is the 5 books that I'm going to talk about because that's all I need. I love these books a lot and I know what I have to say about them, so I don't feel the need to write down lots of notes about what I'm going to say about them, especially when the whole video is about a theme. Sometimes I do have really long video plans. So for example, this is my video plan for the Feminist Victorians video I did on Hester, which as you can see is very, very long. I won't scroll all the way down because it gets into spoilers, but I've got quotes that I'm going to read out and stuff like that. This video plan is 3 pages because I had a lot to say and it was very detailed and very complicated. When I'm doing those more analytical videos, I do tend to need a much bigger plan. But for a short video like this, where I know the books I'm talking about and I'm just talking a little bit about a particular theme, I don't really need more than just the book titles. I never script my videos. I don't think I ever will. I think it would take me too long, and I feel like most of the interesting things I think of to say, I think of on the spot. So short little plans and bullet points work better for me. So after I've written a plan, the next thing I do is set up my filming area before I film. So this is my filming setup. You can see my tripod there. I've got the books that I'm going to be talking about on the floor. I've got some books that I just talked about in another video on the other side of the floor. I've got a cup of tea just in case I need it. I've also got my laptop here on the floor with the plan open so that I can look at it. For a video like this where I'm just talking about 5 books, I don't really need my notes there. But for a lot of other videos, if it's more analytical or I have more things to say and more things to remember, I keep my laptop by me so that I can look at all the things that I'm going to be talking about while I'm filming. Obviously my camera isn't on top of the tripod yet because I'm holding it, but you can see where my bookshelf is and where I sit. So now I'm going to film the video and then I will tell you about what happens next. So the first thing I always do before I film a video is film a thumbnail. I always film rather than take a thumbnail, so I don't have a photograph taken on a timer. I just film myself holding up some books and smiling and then take the best shot from that. So I always find that is better. I'm not very good at being photographed, and being filmed and taking a freeze frame from that always works much better for me. And then once I film my thumbnail, I go on to film the video. As you will be able to see, I often pause to think during my videos. My videos are not very streamlined and I have to do a lot of editing, which I will talk about a bit in a minute. So once I have filmed my videos, I then load all the files onto my computer and then I convert them all into MP4s because that works better with my video editing software. So the video software I use is called Wondershare Filmora and it is really, really good. So this isn't a free video editing software, but it is quite cheap. I did use a free video editing software for years and years. I only got this video editing software about a year ago. I think I used to use Windows Movie Maker, which was free, but that does not exist anymore. Wondershare Filmora I do find really easy, and I do find that it makes editing much simpler. So before I edit the actual video, I always edit my tea intro. So I have a little tea intro template video editing thing, as you can see. So I drop in my little tea intro, I then trim it, I then mute the noise of me pouring tea, the music and text already in my template, and I just export that so that I can import it in its entirety into my video. Once I've done that, I export that and I open a new document to start editing my video. I drop in my video file and also the tea intro and also my little outro file, which I just have as a separate document, and then I start putting everything together and I start editing. So the first thing I do when I put a video into my video editing software before I edit anything is I slow the clip down. I am a very fast speaker. I talk very quickly, I always have. So I digitally slow down every video that I put up. When I used to use Windows Movie Maker, I used to slow my videos to like 0.96%, I think, because Windows Movie Maker was not very good at like adjusting your voice pitch for making it slower. So the slower you made it, the lower your voices sounded, and it sounded a bit weird. Filmora is much better for that, so I now usually put my videos at 90% speed. The other thing I do before I start properly editing the video is make the thumbnail from the very bit at the beginning where I filmed myself doing a thumbnail. So I just take a little snapshot, there's a button for it on Filmora. I then find the folder where that snapshot is saved, and I then have to open it in Paint, make it slightly smaller and save it as a JPEG, because otherwise YouTube does not accept it. But I then put that in the folder and that is ready to go as well. I have to do quite a lot of editing. I'm not someone who always says full sentences in a sensible way. I often break off in the middle of a sentence. I often have to say things 3 times before I say it correctly. One thing that does make editing videos easier is that, as you can see both the video clip and you can also see the sound. And because of the like ups and downs, the peaks and troughs, it's much easier to tell like where you've stopped a sentence, and then that's a sensible place to cut. So my videos usually require quite a lot of editing. I would say when I started filming videos, probably a 20-minute clip ended up being a 10-minute video. Now I think it's more like a 15-minute clip ends up being a 10-minute video. Unless I'm doing a video where I'm like reading lots of stuff out or I have a lot of notes to check. I think I'm better now at stringing full sentences together than I was when I first started BookTube, but definitely I do have to do a lot of editing. I'm going to show you a short clip, maybe like 30 seconds, maybe a bit longer, of unedited footage, and then I'll show you that edited so that you can see the difference. Claudia from the Spencer's Library did this in her like How I BookTube series, and I found it really interesting. But you can see how much I stumble over my words and how much I repeat things. I've just become really natural now at like starting again in the middle of a sentence, and sometimes like in the middle of a clause for no reason. I also stop and pause quite a lot, especially like in between talking about books. I could never film a video in one take, I think. It definitely wouldn't suit me. Finally, the last book I want to mention, finally, the last Victorian coming-of-age story I want to recommend is Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. Now, this is the one where this follows a young woman called Molly. Wives and Daughters follows a young woman called Molly, and what happens when her father, who's been a widower for many years, remarries, and Molly suddenly has a stepmother and a stepsister in her house who she hasn't known before, and everything in her life changes. It's also an incredibly beautiful love story. It's also a book about grief in many ways, but I think above all, I also think that Wives and Daughters is an amazing story about growing up and an amazing coming-of-age novel. Finally, the last Victorian coming-of-age story I want to recommend is Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. Wives and Daughters follows a young woman called Molly, and what happens when her father, who's been a widower for many years, remarries, and Molly suddenly has a stepmother and a stepsister in her house who she hasn't known before, and everything in her life changes. It's also an incredibly beautiful love story, and it's also a book about grief in many ways, but I also think that Wives and Daughters is an amazing story about growing up and an amazing coming-of-age novel. So once I finished editing the actual video, I put in my little outro at the end. I already put my tea intro in at the beginning, and then I export it to MP4 so that it is in good shape for YouTube. And once I have done that, I watch it through once to check for any mistakes or any issues. I started doing this initially when I used to use Windows Movie Maker because it was a bit rubbish and sometimes videos would come out with no sound. I keep doing it now because I find it quite useful just to check that I haven't made a mistake or I haven't got a repeated word in the middle. Usually it's fine and I don't have to do any more editing, and then I get ready to upload it to YouTube. But before the video goes up on BookTube, I also need to write my video description. Sometimes I do this while the video is uploading, sometimes I do it before. So my video descriptions are quite simple. I always have like an opening line which says like in which I talk about something or other, and then if I mention any people's BookTube channels, I will link them, and then I'll have like a books mentioned little thing, and then I link all of the books I've mentioned and their Goodreads pages. So I always have to go to Goodreads and find all the books I've mentioned, put them in to the description and make sure they're there, and then that is ready to go up on BookTube. Occasionally, if I make a video where I talk about a lot of books, I also have to make tiny URLs out of the Goodreads links because YouTube only allows you to have 5,000 characters. So now that I've done the description and the video and the thumbnail are ready to go, I then go to YouTube and to the creator upload tool. I upload the video, I pop on the thumbnail, I post in the description, I write out my video title, and then I also do a bit of metadata, so I add tags, which I know I've mentioned before in my tips for new booktubers video, which I'll link down below. Tags are really helpful for helping people to find your videos. My video is called 5 Victorian Novels About, and all the books I mention are in the description, so anyone who wants to find a video about Great Expectations might be able to find a video. But one word that is nowhere else in my metadata is the word classics, but my video is obviously a video about classics. So I will put the word classics in my tag here, and maybe Bildun's Romance or Coming of Age Story, which are things I've said, but they're not actually in the words. I then go through, turn on monetization, all of that stuff, and finally I schedule my video. I always schedule my videos in advance because I find that is organized, and also like it's good for the YouTube algorithm if your videos go up on exactly the same time every week. So usually I post twice a week on Monday and Thursday at 6:30 AM UK time. So that is what I set up on YouTube now. Get that all in place and sorted, and then click schedule and the video is uploaded. So there we have it. That is how I make a booktube video. I hope this has been interesting and not just a bit weird. Please let me know down in the comments if this was an interesting video, if you have any questions, and if there's anything else you'd like to know about how I make booktube videos. And that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with another bookish video.